When you think you're fancy, but you're not, go and listen to Flop Shot.
Welcome to Flop Shot. I have a special guest today. We have a fancy studio. We went a little overboard on this because Zach was coming into town. He drove all the way from Twin Falls, Idaho, just to be here. Came straight from Vegas, hops in the car, comes to Boise, Idaho from Twin Falls. That's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, 6 turns, so it's intense, but pretty straight shot. So happy to be here, though.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is Zach Abels, a.k.a. What are your AKAs?
I don't.
Do you have any nicknames?
No, I really don't. I'm the guy who gives everyone the nicknames. So everybody in our crew, I give them the nicknames.
Okay, I'll give you a nickname. Zach Abels.
There we go.
Kind of like Snackables,
Yeah.
because we did go into the snacks section and you were in heaven.
Yes, I'm going back.
I did take video of it. Maybe I'll put the video overlay on this.
I will be going back.
But yeah, I was pretty excited when I saw, well, in our Top Golf, I don't even know what these are called. Are these mugs?
It's a
golf bag mugs?
It's a bag mug. It's a bug.
Bjorn was saying that it even lights up too.
I have that feature as well.
Should I keep it lit? We've got it on this little agate coaster. What is this? I don't know what these are.
Amethyst, I was told.
Amethyst coasters. It's lit. Zach's is probably going to give somebody a seizure. So sorry if you're getting a seizure from watching that.
I feel like I'm at a Knights game.
It does kind of,
We've got the jersey. I got the puck.
I like that there's 3 settings to it as well.
I'm good with that. I didn't even realize that was an option.
That's pretty cool.
It's going to be hard to tell you guys no in the future when you bring out all these snacks and all these fancy mugs.
Yeah, I mean, we did it up nice for you. It's episode 13, lucky number 13.
Appreciate that.
When I found out that Zach was going to be on the podcast, I was like, we gotta take this to the next level. We got to get out of my buddy's basement and into a real studio. And here we are.
I'm impressed.
So you don't want any other AKAs?
No, I like to keep things super simple. So if I had any other AKAs, I would forget them, and I just don't know if I'd be able to. Z in high school.
Z, AKA Z.
Pretty simple.
I'm gonna ask Troy.
Yeah.
What your other AKAs are?
He'll tell you prickly pear.
Prickly pear.
Yeah.
What's that from?
An afternoon of indulging in libations, and I drank a prickly pear, and every once in a while he throws prickly pear at me.
I love the way you articulate that.
Yeah. Well, if you tell somebody like, hey, we were just out boozing in the middle of the day, it sounds awful. And that's not really what we were doing. We were just having a few.
Yours was way better.
Yeah.
The way you said it was way better.
Yeah.
We're talking about Troy Merritt, by the way. PGA Tour professional.
Yeah.
Friend of Zach.
Yeah.
I just followed him at Waste Management. He was in the same group as my buddy Steven Yeager and his caddy Waldo, Brett Waldman. And so it was nice because then I got to cheer for the hometown boy and Steven.
Yeah.
And it was just, have you been to Waste Management?
It's been a long time. I was down there.
How long has it been?
2009. I try and avoid Waste Management. I'm not going to lie. I get the opportunity to go, but it's a lot of a golf tournament. I mean,
Well, we went
it's
down.
a party.
Yeah, we went down the Sunday leading into it because I played in the PGA Memes one. Played in the Malbon tournament the next day. Then just went and played at some other course in Phoenix. And then Thursday was the tournament. And then Friday. And then it was Super Bowl. But so there was a bunch of parties. Topgolf threw some really good parties. There was another party, though, that I had to skip because I was starting to get sick. I was going on like 20 hours sleep for like the entire week. And I can't do that. I'm like a toddler. When I don't have sleep, I'll start crying.
We're getting old.
I will cry. I did actually cry in front of a grown man. Cried a few times, actually. It's been a long time since I've cried, but Kyle Porter, he's the CBS golf guy.
Yep.
So he was the guy who kind of blew this whole Lego thing up for me because he was the first guy to write about it that was here in the States. There'd been some attention from like the UK and like just golf magazine type things across the water, but
Sure.
Kyle was like the first one, and then he encouraged me to make more, and I was like, I'm onto something here. When I did the Graham Dillette one, he was the one who did a write-up of that, And then I'd never met him before. And I don't know how I manifested this, but like we're at Waste Management and I'm walking by 16 and I see all these guys doing their power walk, you know, and they look all fancy. And Kyle was one of them. It was probably like the no laying up guys. I think Rick Gaiman was probably there. But they're just like going somewhere with a purpose. And I turn around and I'm like, that's Kyle Porter. And so I was like, Kyle, like I yelled it. And he turns around, looks at me in flip flops and looking homeless. And he's probably like, this is some hammered dude that I don't want to talk to. And so I went up to him and I introduced myself. And then I was like, hey, I just wanted to shake your hand and wanted to tell you that changed my life. And I started, and I like teared up and I was like, okay, I got to go. Yeah. And I'm sure he was just like, that was weird.
Nah, that's genuine though.
It was cool. It was a cool moment, but like that wasn't what I expected.
Sure.
So it was kind of like, sorry, Kyle.
That's cool though. Unscripted. I mean, it's genuine. Like people appreciate that though, for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't appreciate it because
you got to be tough.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
when you're building Legos, it's the toughest. Only the tough survive, right? I mean, I used to build Legos when I was a kid, but nothing like that. I mean, I had the whole script, and I could still screw it up. So
I think it's because my dad was like a cattle rancher, and like he just wanted me to be tough. I rode in the Calgary Stampede when I was like 5 years old. I was a mutton buster. And so I think just my whole life I've been trying to put on this persona that I'm not. Because growing up, I was like 125 pounds soaking wet. Right. Like I was not a tough guy, but I acted tough. and we got into some scraps. Yeah. And like if you talk to anybody that I grew up with, they'll tell you don't mess with him because he's got the crazy eye and like.
But that's a Canadian thing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. But at this point, though, like as a 44-year-old man, I'm like, I got to let that go because it's not a good energy. It doesn't serve me.
I don't think it vibes with golf or Legos.
No, I'm not a tough guy. It'd be cool if you could like fight in golf. Like if there was hockey fights in golf, like when they get like mad at each other, like Bryson versus Koepka would be a good match. Like if they just let them drop the glove and then slap each other with it or something. Maybe just do one of those little slap things with a golf glove. Maybe that could be the new golf fighting.
I'm for it.
I mean, it could be a sport.
Solve a lot of problems. Perceived problems. I really don't think there's problems in golf. I think that they try and hype stuff up, but
yeah. Well, this year was kind of weird too.
Well, I was with Brooks right after he played, the day that he played Koepka, or obviously Koepka, the day that he played Bryson in the match. So
in Vegas,
a company that I help out with did the Duke Gonzaga game, and so I was working the game, and I was in the locker room with Brooks in Duke's locker room. And he just played it off. It was almost like he was happy it was done. The match was done. I mean, I'm sure he made an absolute
killing
grip of money and just called it a day. And he just totally played it off like big deal. He was there with his dad. He was there with Chase, his brother. And, yeah, he was totally cool. And I mean, this is a couple of years. Obviously, everything's changed now. But they're together on the Lib Series and doing their thing and whatever.
Well, I want to know more about a young Zach Abels and how you got to where you are. You are now I don't even know what your title is at Canyon.
I struggle with that too.
What is it?
I think we're going to settle with head golf professional.
At Canyon Springs?
Yeah.
Is it Canyon Springs Golf Course or is it just Canyon Springs?
Canyon Springs Golf Course, the Canyon Springs.
The Canyon?
Yeah.
Is what they call it?
Well, we're trying to kind of do some branding things, so I like to run with the Canyon. I think it sounds mysterious.
One of the coolest courses that I've ever played.
I appreciate that.
It really is. Like it's super my vibe. Like it's not fancy, but you feel fancy when you're there. You're like tucked into the canyon, and if you've never been to Twin Falls, there's like this iconic bridge, and you can see the bridge. The whole setup is just amazing. We went down there. Bjorn and I went down and played in your tournament that you do. What's it called? Magic Valley?
Yeah, MV Junior Golf Foundation. So that's kind of where we're at now. Back when I was a kid, none of that stuff existed. So playing at Canyon, I grew up down there. It was the first golf course I ever played, and now I'm the head professional there.
How did you get into it? Normal. Like what? Yeah, you're good buddies with Troy Merritt because you guys grew up playing together because he was in Burley, right?
Yep. Yeah, so when I started playing, I had no clue what I was doing. My mom signed me up for tournaments through the Idaho Golf Association, and he played 3 holes. He got a hot dog when you were done, and I was so bad that I'd literally whiff it 10 times. You'd go drop your ball on the green. I was the farthest thing from a natural possible. I was much more into baseball, and that was my intro to golf, was playing in these 3-hole tournaments, and there was actually a girl that we played with every week, and she beat the socks off of me. So I mean, that was kind of my first goal, was to beat
the girl.
The one girl, Sam. She was a good player, in fairness, and she played some college golf and comes from a good family in the area. But that was probably my first goal, was to beat a girl when I was like 7 or 8 years old.
That's a good goal.
So now it's changed a little bit, but yeah, I mean, as I got more into it, my stepdad got into the picture, and I probably don't give him enough credit, but he helped me out a ton. And probably my first goal, I think I was 13. He told me if I was a single-digit handicap, he'd take me to Pebble Beach. And so Pebble Beach was still the rage back then. And
Yeah, it's still iconic.
yeah, and I got to where I just practiced all the time, and I got to play Pebble the week after the U.S. Open in 2000.
Really?
So that was a big deal for me. I mean, that was
And how old were you?
13.
I've never played Pebble.
Yeah, it's a treat.
I need to go play. I might go play it this year.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who might be able to set it up. But that's pretty cool that you had that goal and you're like, I'm going to go play Pebble, and then you accomplished it.
Yeah, no, and it's obviously my goals have changed a little bit, and they're more centered towards business and towards other people getting to their accomplishments through teaching and coaching, everything that we do. But I look back on that and go, that was probably what really cemented me being in golf moving forward, was getting the opportunity to kind of earn my way to Pebble and do it. And yeah, been a few other places since, so it's been good.
I've played in many golf tournaments, but that one was probably one of the ones that I have the most fond memories of, because we had a really good group.
Yeah, to say the least.
Tell the people about the group that you
man.
put. So it was me and Bjorn.
Yep.
And then you matched us up. You talk about it.
Yeah, so Paul Holbrook's been one of my biggest supporters, just a friend. I mean, the true definition of a friend. And then Coffee Boss, who's now the Fire Boss, who then probably will wind up selling something else by the time we're done with this podcast. But
Yeah, he owned a bunch of coffee shops, and then now he owns Fireplace Places. And
Just
Paul owns, what's the Funko? What's it called?
yeah, Paul was involved with Funko, and now he's doing
Is he the owner
movies
of it,
and-
or is he like?
I don't ask questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've done some things with Paul and been in some rooms with Paul, and you know that you're with Paul, and so you just roll with it. But he's got a lot of irons in the fire, and probably the most self-driven human I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's just good energy. I mean, that's the best way
It
to
really was.
explain it.
Well, we had like probably 10 junior golfers following our group, and then we started doing like little incentives for them.
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, whoever gets closest to the pin wins $100.
Yep.
And these kids are just like, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And so money's just flowing to these kids. And like all of it supports these kids, like the whole entire thing, like the auction that you did. But by the end of it, these kids are jumping into the pond, swimming across the pond for like $100. And everyone's just like, can I do it? Can I do it? And I was just like, these parents are probably going to see these videos and be like, what is Zach doing there? So I was like, well, we don't want to make Zach look bad, because this is really fun. And the kids were just awesome. And like when they started having incentives to, I mean, I can't imagine if I was a 12, 13-year-old kid and somebody's like, hey, $100 if you jump in the pond and swim across. Like, I would have done it for free. I would have done it as a dare.
Is probably the starting. $100 is, but I mean, it's different now. $100. I never saw a $100 bill when I was a kid.
No,
so I mean,
me
now
neither.
It's a little different. That's the one day where we really kind of let them loose. It's definitely not a typical day at Canyon, but yeah, the tournament's important. It's huge. It's grown a ton. Everything that we talk about today is obviously going to circle back to Troy, as it should, but he one of the first supporters of the event and jumped on board with it, and the logo's on his staff bag now, so we're out on tour with Troy every week, and the support that he's given it is incredible. It was just instant. It gave it credibility from the get-go, so anybody that was really trying to jump on board Troy's involved, so boom. I mean, there you go. So he's played in 6 of the 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Last year he missed it for the playoffs, which is somewhat understandable.
Yeah, that's understandable.
He's missed it for the PGA Championship. Those were the 2 times.
Yeah,
but
he can get a pass on both of those.
No, I mean the boys come down. His 2 boys who are I call them my spirit animals.
I've seen them play. Those kids can play.
Yeah, they can play. I caddy for Dodge a little bit. So I've caddied for 2 of the 3 playing Merritts. You try and caddy for Court, his wife, and you just walk right off the tee, and then she's pretty good second shot in. But
you've done a lot of caddying though. Like,
I've
didn't
done a
you
fair
caddy
amount,
for Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah.
Who else have you caddied for?
Mainly Griff and Troy.
How do you know Griffey?
All through Nike. Nike's probably the most important relationship I've had since I've turned professional, and it was on a whim. My story of turning professional was wild. I was actually in the desert. That was down in Phoenix, working at a club, and I was working at Blue Lakes at the time, and I fully expected to go back to school, get my master's in psychology. I always knew I was going to do something that helped with youth. That was something that I was always into, and I got a call from my boss at the time, and he had signed me up for the PAT, the player ability test, which is the first part of becoming a pro. And I mean, differentiating between the PGA of America and the PGA Tour.
Okay.
So we're the ones that work at the facilities that are providing golf. Yeah, they're the ones that are playing golf. So I never went out and chased it, tried to play at that level. And so he told me I was turning pro. I said, cool. And I went and I took my PAT, and actually my caddy is now Maverick McNeely's caddy. So I'd like to think that I got him started. I gave him his jump start to get out with Mav.
I mean, I would claim that would be my claim to fame too.
I passed my PAT, and I came home, and I still thought that I was probably going to go back to school. And my boss said, no. He said, you're turning pro. And I won the first couple pro-ams I played in, and I won the assistants in the Rocky Mountain section. And
like, what kind of scores do you have to shoot to win those things?
Oh, man. I think I shot 67 at Clear Lake, and then I shot...
Where's Clear Lake? Is that
Clear Lake's
in Buell?
Buell, yeah.
Okay.
And
I haven't played that yet. I want to play there.
Oh, it's great.
I've heard it's great.
A ton of golf there growing up. So it was, for having my first, quote, professional event, and you're playing with 3 amateurs that you know. I mean, this is not the PGA Tour, so let's push that aside. But it's a pretty comfortable environment. So it's a facility you've played 100 times with 3 people that you know, and you're a, quote, professional. And I had my name on my bag, so it was, I had a Nike bag and a set of irons and a driver, and I doubt I wore Nike clothes because at that time my closet looked a little bit different. I was just coming out of college and who wore Adidas in college.
You're way fancier now. Now you're playing like the Grove course with Jordan, and
so a few more swooshes.
You've had a come up. You've had a little bit of a glow up.
I'm super fortunate, dare I say blessed to have the opportunities that I've had, but that's what golf's all about. I mean, golf is, if you put into it and you give the game the respect that it deserves, I mean, look at you. You get to go to more fun places than I do.
Yeah. I do get to go to a lot of fun. That's one of the things I love about you, though, is you do get to go to do a lot of cool things, and you're so humble about it, and you're not like flexing all the time, like, oh, I get to do that. You need like a hype man to hype you up, and I feel the same way too. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's cool stories, but like I don't really want to talk about myself all the time.
No, I do this with you because I appreciate you, I respect you, but this is not my cup of tea. But for me, it's so much more important to share it. We were just talking about, I was in Vegas last weekend with my mom, going to Adele. Take my mom to whatever her big thing is. She loves the Warriors, so it's super important. Like, we got to get to Warrior games. I got her a Clay signed jersey, things like that. That to me is more important. Like being able to share those types of things and being able to share those types of experiences. And I probably take it for granted a little bit myself, because I do. You're right. I do get to do some fantastic things, and I have to kind of sit back a little bit and go, man. But for me, I got to make sure that my boys are getting to do this stuff. The people that are important, that are always with you, that's the coolest part of me being able to experience some of this stuff, is doing it with them.
Well, and that's another thing that I love about you, is you're a giver, and that's why I vibe with you so much, because I'm the same way. Like, that's like my love language, is to see other people having those experiences. Even when we were at Waste Management, we ended up getting behind the ropes on 16, where we just kind of walk in. Like, none of us had credentials, but like all of my friends, I really just wanted to get Chase in there because he didn't get to go last year because his girlfriend's grandma died and he had to leave. And my buddy Rob and I got behind the ropes, and it was really cool, like just kind of seeing Rob's face as he goes in. I didn't really care as much. Like, it's cool. You get goosebumps when you walk in through the players' tunnel. But like this time, again, it was like a bunch of friends that are with me. But then as soon as you do that, then everybody wants you to take them. And you're like, I can't give that much.
No.
Like, I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, I'm going to get all of my friends in. So like you have to kind of dial it down a little bit. But that's the other thing too, is like, even with the Junior Golf Association, like, did you start that?
Yeah, my family and I started it.
And it's crazy to see where, like, how it's grown, and even the auction where you're like auctioning off like Ken Griffey Jr. like signed cleats and like Tony Finau stuff and Shaquille O'Neal stuff, but like Twin Falls is not like a affluent place, so like there's a lot of kids that because of that are able to play golf, and golf's an expensive sport, so the fact that you can make it affordable for them, like. Not all of them are like underprivileged, but I'm sure there are a few where it's like they wouldn't otherwise play golf if it wasn't for you. And so I think that's really cool. And to be able to see that, I was just like, this is amazing. I want to be a part of this every single time. Like, if I can go to every single one of those, I will.
Oh, we'll have you too. But for us, there are definitely kids that get scholarshiped into our programs. But the big thing is it's not like they're wearing a scarlet letter. They're just part of the program.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate enough. We've had kids that have participated in the program that have Down syndrome, and they fit right in.
Yeah.
My mom caddied for one of my best friend's kids in a high school tournament, which is not allowed, but we just flat said, hey, it's a Canyon, it's our rules. And so she went out, Abby, who I always call her my best friend, Abby, she went out and was beating these girls that play. I mean, Abby plays once a year, maybe.
Really?
Got this junior set. Kaylin's out caddying for her, and one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I probably don't give that experience as much credit because I was very far away.
Yeah.
Kaylin's taking the reins, and she's caddying for Abby in a high school tournament, and it looked just normal. And to me, that's one of the coolest things about golf, is that anybody can do it at any time under the right circumstances, and you can bring together all kinds of people. And I've been fortunate enough to be in some spots that I had no business being in, and you get a seat at the table, and it's fantastic.
Where did you caddy for Ken Griffey Jr.? Was it at Pebble?
We did South Carolina.
Was it South Carolina?
On the web. Yeah, we had some plans to do Pebble this year, and he's had some stuff come up. And
who else was with you?
Man, we had a crew there. We had Michael Collins, who does a lot of content for ESPN, America's Caddy.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Anderson, who is the funniest human being I've ever met in
That's
my entire
the guy
life.
from Blackish?
Blackish. He's done 100 different movies. He is... You don't know if he's actually serious, but he'll just kind of go into these outbreaks, and it's hilarious. So that was our core group. Larry Fitzgerald was playing because obviously Larry Fitzgerald plays in everything.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Canelo Alvarez was there.
Oh, that's
boxer.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. They hyped it up big time. I know I'm missing a few people, but that was our crew was Collins, Anthony, and they both had their sons caddying for them. So it was really cool. I mean, and their sons are kind of getting into golf. And so to be a part of that, and to go to the dinners and to go to a couple of the functions and see them in their element with their kid was awesome. It was super cool. So.
Well, and you get in those rooms and you're like, I don't belong here.
100%.
Like, sometimes I feel that way. Like, even being in this fancy studio, I'm like,
nice. These are real plants.
I'm like, I don't belong here. This is way too fancy for me. But I think it is. It's that imposter syndrome where you're like, no, I do belong here.
Sure.
And this is what I'm going to do. And sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it. But I don't like being fake. I like being true to myself, and that's one of the things I love about you too. Is you're not fake. You're like one of the most genuine humans that I know, and like it is really cool to see. Like, even talking with like friends of yours that will tell me things that you don't even know that I know about you. It's just
let's not get too deep into that.
We won't. We won't get too deep into it, but it is cool. It's cool to watch, and and it's all through golf. Like
100%.
this. If it wasn't for golf, we wouldn't be friends.
No, 100%.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way that we ever would have like crossed paths if it wasn't for golf. And it was. I remember when we first actually like met. I think it was at Eagle Hills, wasn't it? Where we'd first seen each other face to face.
Actually, the first time we met was at Canyon. Mark sent you down to do some stuff and said, "Hey, just go talk to Zach." And then we had a good little vibe. I think
you were there though. I thought it was. I thought it was somebody else.
See, that's how memorable I am. Because I think I just told you, hey, go do your thing, and then we'll chop it up later. I remember this. You had the wife, you had the kids, you had the full caddy bib on.
That was the first time?
Yeah. But see, that's kind of the culture of Canyon. It's pretty low-key, and our GM, Brandon, does a really good job of letting us kind of live in our own skin. And
then I was wearing Trap Golf stuff.
Yep.
And you came up, and you're like, Trap Golf.
Yep.
Wayno.
Yep.
Because Wayno caddied for Troy for a long time, didn't he?
Yeah, a handful of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some good success.
Yeah, and so you're like... That's my guy,
Yeah.
Wayno Drano. I just saw him at Waste Management, too.
Yep.
That guy's awesome. But, yeah, I love Trap Golf. It's the same type of vibe, where it's
100%.
just like making golf accessible to everybody.
There's a lot of brands out there that are doing a really good job. I was with the Eastside Golf guys.
Uh-huh.
How cool is that stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Trap, Eastside, all that stuff to where it's not predominant golf markets.
Right.
You know, and I'm not getting into the whole, I don't view people as different colors. People are people. But it is out there.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
That's not something that you can really skirt around. And some of the opportunities that they're providing is fantastic. And Wayne takes it to the biggest. I mean, he's all about it.
He really does. I love his accent, too. He just kind of has that, like, Louisiana accent.
Oh, yeah.
I could listen to Wayno talk all day.
He will, too.
And it just makes, I know, but it just makes me laugh, like, because I was just never around that. Like, growing up in Canada, like, that was never an accent that I really experienced except for on TV. And so to be around it, it just, I don't know, something about it is just intoxicating, where you're just like, I could sit and listen to this all day. And maybe that's just me.
No, culture's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I didn't live a typical Twin Fallsian, if that's a word. I might have just created that.
That is good. I like that.
My parents were super involved with CSI and the basketball team, so we had basketball players that would live in our house.
Oh, really? As like billets?
Yeah, and they were always just really, really cool about, me experiencing that. I'd go home with them, so sometimes it was Seattle, sometimes it was Brazil, sometimes it was Australia.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My parents were huge on get out, see the world, see the U.S., see a lot of things. And I think that you talk about these situations that might be uncomfortable, that probably helped more so than anything is that I was just exposed to a
Different
lot of
cultures.
different stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no,
Awesome.
I love that. And that's what I love to do with travel too. Like I like traveling places where I'm like, why would I go there? Like even when we went down to Santiago, Chile, to do this stuff with Joaquin and Mito, I was like, what? Why am I like when I'm talking to like my dad or somebody's like, what are you doing? You're not getting paid to do this? And I'm like this is kind of an opportunity that most people aren't going to get.
No.
And the fact that my friends are just kind of bringing me along as a translator, even though I don't speak Spanish like I used to, I'm like, I'm just going to go. And the fact that I can fly down there for free helps.
Yeah.
But like it was unreal. And to be able to hang out with those guys was like, and play golf with them, I'm like, we're playing with professionals here.
Yeah, high level. Canadians aren't supposed to speak Spanish, so.
Yeah,
I
I lived in South America for a couple of years and learned Spanish.
You can get a free pass on that.
But that was like 20-something years ago. And so when I went down with the country club adjacent guys, and I remember telling Jake, I was like, I don't really speak Spanish like I used to, but I speak it better than you do. So I'll come down and translate for you guys. And he's like, done. He's like, just come with us.
We're already accustomed to adding A on the end of everything. So we've got the whole feminine part of the Spanish language.
I do have that figured out.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It'll work next time you're playing with Canelo, and I can just throw some Spanish in there.
Yeah.
He was actually at the Super Bowl thing with Topgolf, but I had to come home early, and it would have been cool to meet him because he's
very little.
He's really good at golf.
He's good, and it's surprising how little some of those guys are.
But he's newer to golf. He's not like
he got a late start.
He got a really late start, and he's become really good at it, and that's cool to see too. Like I didn't really grow up playing golf.
Sure.
Like I would go, my dad would like let me hit on like the 7th and 8th hole. He'd be like, "Okay, go and hit a ball," and so we just kind of
Played hockey,
and play. Yeah, I played hockey, and so that translates pretty well.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get into golf until my 20s.
That's probably a good thing because with your personality, you get that all in. So
Yeah, and even
a blessing.
the last like 3 years, it's been like a lot of golf, way more golf than I thought I would ever play.
Yeah.
But now golf's like the cool thing. I don't know what it was like when you were growing up,
Not
but it
like
was
this.
probably like the nerdy kids. It's like, oh, you're a golfer?
This is pre-Tiger. So, I mean, Tiger obviously changed everything.
Yeah, he
when
did.
I started playing, if my math's right, early 90s. Yeah, everything changed when Tiger started playing.
Yeah, he was like
97
97, around 96, 97. Was that around the time that it just kind of transformed?
Yeah, I mean, you could just see the courses were getting more popular. People were playing, kind of similar to the COVID boom. You know,
Well, even seeing the Riviera, like seeing him
Oh.
play at Riviera and the Tiger effect, where it's just like
nuts.
crazy amounts of people. He's not even in contention to win, and he's got like a huge following of people that are just like, they want to see the magic happen again.
Well, he's 47. He's been through
Yeah.
anything and everything. And to come back and to have not competed for as long as he has, you make the cut, hit some shots that were world class. You know,
Yeah.
I caught a little bit of it, and he's the man. I mean, he's the
Yeah.
reason why he's the reason why golf is what it is now.
Yeah, when people talk about like the big purses and stuff, a lot of that, people will say, "Oh, because of Liv, now the purses are bigger," but it's because of Tiger. That's the Tiger effect as well.
Yeah.
Because of him, that's kind of why these golfers make as much as they do, which is a crazy amount of money.
It can be, yeah. I mean,
Like John Rahm's almost made like $10 million this year, and
Yeah.
we're not even in March yet.
Now you see that with the one percenters, you know, but hopefully with some of the stuff that Liv's doing, it makes it to where the non-one percenters. I'm not going to say that Troy Merritt's of the world, because Troy doesn't give himself enough credit. I'm talking about the guys that are really scraping to get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, Troy's won twice. He's been out there for a dozen years. He's had some struggles, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about the guys that are really trying to come up, or those journeymen.
Right.
You know, dare I say, even a guy that winds up on Korn Ferry
Yeah.
for a handful of years, they presumably could still make it, and hopefully it has a big effect, because I enjoy watching LPGA as much as any.
Really?
They're so talented.
I haven't watched any LPGA.
Oh my god! Well, you got a Canadian too.
I need to go like watch an event. I remember the
It's unbelievable.
first like major that I ever went to. First golf tournament I ever went to was at Pinehurst.
Okay.
And it was 2014. And I had a buddy that lived there, and he's like, "Hey, come down. We'll try and get in." But I didn't have tickets.
Sure.
We ended up going every day. And that was where I followed Graham Dillette for the first time. So that was kind of my start into this. And then I ended up making a Lego video of Graham, and he retweets it. And then I do a Tiger video the next week, and now we're here.
You could have started with someone worse. Graham's about as nice as they get.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Super good. dude.
But he was the only reason I followed him. I didn't know anything about golf, but I was like, he's Canadian, and he golfed at Boise State. Like,
Yeah.
that's my guy.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of,
Who won that week? Keimer?
yeah.
That was the week that Keimer putted everything. Didn't
Ricky
hit a chip
Fowler
shot.
was like, Dustin Johnson was playing really well that week. We followed DJ the first 2 days because my buddy went to like Coastal Carolina, and that's where he went. So they had some mutual friends. But then, Keimer just ran away with it, and it was kind of like anticlimactic. Is it climactic or climatic?
Either.
Anticlimactic.
You need to end. If it ends in A, then you're good.
I don't know what it is. English is hard.
But he ran away with it.
Yeah,
And he never
won
hit a
by,
chip
like-
shot,
No, he was putting everything.
Yeah, it was a
Have you ever
cool-
played Pinehurst?
unfortunately.
They
It's
have-
really, really hard.
You played too?
Yeah, it's
And
really
they've got
hard.
those turtleback
It's
greens.
really hard.
Yeah, you have to putt everything.
Yes.
Even if you're like way off of the green, you have to putt it because you can't, and you have to hope that it gets enough speed to stay up on top. But those turtleback greens are like nothing I've ever played before. North Carolina golf is just different.
It is. I had Kimberly High School, who I work with a fair amount of their girls and boys. They played in a national high school championship. I'm sure that's not the name of it, but a few of the girls were going there and said, "What do I need to know?" And I'm like, there's nothing here that'll prepare you for it. You have to play a completely different style of golf. It was an awesome experience for them, but you can't chip unless you're really, really ridiculously good at chipping, or you accidentally do something right. So, but it's fun. I mean, that's another thing about golf is all the different playing conditions, all the different experiences. You go from California to Florida, like the tour is transitioning into, and it's completely different. You know,
Yeah.
It's awesome. And to try and explain that to people it's impossible until you actually go and do it. But,
Well, there's a lot of nuance in golf too that you don't like, even with like how you're supposed to act and what you're supposed to do. Like I still get flack from not wearing shoes on the golf course, but that's just I wore shoes. Actually, it was Kevin Na that we were playing with. I had done some Lego stuff with him, and part of the deal was getting a new set of clubs and going and playing with Kevin Na. And I'd never played with a pro golfer before, but I had like these old Dexters from like the 1970s that I found at like a thrift store. And so I had put the soft spikes in them, but I like tweaked my knee on one of the shots like halfway through the round. And so like my knee was like hurting.
Sure.
And after that, I just took my shoes off, and I was like, I'm not gonna.
So it's a comfort thing. The shoes?
Yeah. Now it's first of all, I don't like. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, we're playing with Kevin Na,
Yeah.
and I'll probably never get to play with a pro golfer again, and I'm hobbling around for like 9 of the holes, and it's not even as much fun as it was supposed to be. That was kind of what started the playing in flip flops. I saw John Daly do barefoot, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that vibe. And it just feels, I don't know, it's just
Certain people get their own set of rules. You know, it's like Tiger's obviously pretty immune to
Right.
rules, but
Yeah.
you know,
John Daly too.
Daly's like
Yeah.
on a whole different
yeah,
level.
John Daly could do whatever. If he shows up to a course and they're like, yeah, you can't play barefoot, he'll be like, all right, I'm not playing here.
Yeah, I don't foresee
go
that
home.
happening with Big John.
I don't think it is either. But I mean, seeing him do it, I was
Yeah,
kind of like,
why not?
oh, you can do that? And
We can get you some comfortable shoes. Nike makes some pretty comfortable shoes.
Maybe
Be at least worth a try.
maybe if you turn me into a pro golfer.
I'm only capable of so much.
What are
I
you
mean,
trying
me
to say?
being
What are you
here
trying to
is-
say? Are you trying to say I can't become pro?
This
Like,
is
is that a
huge
subtle
thing.
dig at me?
Realistic expectations.
Because you've seen me play golf?
I think you're better than you give yourself credit for.
I probably am.
I really do. You got the slide over the top action, but the ball's going to cut 99% of the time. You
And
get that pull in
I've
there every
actually
once in a while.
actually kind of worked that out, but it comes back.
It's hard.
Yeah, it comes back. We actually, you and I were playing. We played together at Canyon Springs, and there's a giant rock formation that's like right in the middle of the number 10 hole. And so we went up on top of that rock. We climbed up it, and we were hitting balls off of the rock. And we actually came pretty close a couple of times.
Yeah. I think that I got fortunate maybe once. But the problem that I have with that is how comfortable you were up on top of this gigantic rock because there's no footing. So I was scared. I still have nightmares about it.
It was scary. Like, there was
a
a couple of times where I was like, I might fall backwards.
But you never
And it's
even
like a 30-foot drop.
at all made it seem like you felt like I felt like you were in your element. Like
I was.
kind of think you've done it before maybe.
No, but I need to do it more. Next
Solo
time I
mission.
go out there.
I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was genuinely scared. And you got up there and just started whacking it, and it looked normal. And a few of the shots were unbelievable. I mean, it was high quality golf. I was
think
impressed.
we're gonna get a hole in one off of that rock at some point.
If that was
Even though it's a
first
par
one-
4,
Yeah.
we'll
all
shorten
done.
it.
Okay.
We'll make it a par 3 off the rock.
I'm gonna need intense counseling if we're gonna do it again. I need to go see a professional
need to go through
to
therapy.
prepare myself because it was a thing.
We'll get you there.
Yeah.
We'll get you there.
How
'cause-
close have you been on the hole-in-one challenge? Like really close.
Yeah, it was the closest I ever came was at Eagle Hills,
Okay.
number 8.
Yep.
I hit it past the hole and spun it back, which I don't usually do. I don't put a lot of spin on the ball. It spins back and then and I had 2 camera angles on it too.
Nice.
And it just stopped right before it went in. It was literally like probably 1 or 2 inches away.
So what happens when you're going to make one?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always thought that if I make one near a body of water, that I'll jump in the water.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't strip down naked to do it, but I might. Depends on how fancy the course is.
Well, I think the fancier the course would be, the more revealing you'd get. Like
If
if
I
it's
do
super
it,
fancy,
if I
say
do
you
it
go
in
all
Twin Falls, maybe I'll like run down to the river and jump in there.
Wow.
You guys have 5 has water on it.
5'8". Yeah.
I
It'd have to be a
I
front
came
nine
pretty
wood.
close on 5.
I believe so. I wasn't
Yeah.
there for it. I saw the content after,
Yeah.
and I remember I think it was actually your son who told me.
Yeah.
that you hit a pretty
5
good shot.
5 was close. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Should I figure
You'll
out?
still play though. It's not like you're gonna shut it down after you make the hole in one.
No, I'm still playing.
You're still in.
Yeah, it's not one of those things where it's like, all right, once I make this, I'm done with golf.
Okay.
I'll never be done with golf.
Okay.
Like it's probably one of my favorite sports right now. Hockey and golf are the two things that I love doing the most.
You still play hockey?
Yeah, I play a little bit. I don't play as much. I play a lot more golf now. But I do play hockey. We need to get you out on. Have you ever played hockey?
I've skated. I have pretty decent balance. I can't skate backwards. Forwards, I'm okay.
I think if we put like hockey equipment on you, that's what I do with my kids, where I
Yeah.
just put them in full gear, so if they fall down, it's not going to hurt.
I can't wear your kids' gear.
I know you can wear. we can get
You're
you
gonna need some pretty big gear, but I'm okay with that.
No, we can get you some gear, we need to get you, even if it's just like after hours where we just go skate down at Idaho Central Arena. We could do that because I think you'd actually like playing hockey.
This would be the year too. I mean, this is the best team the Steelheads have had, possibly ever.
Yeah, if we make it to the finals, you gotta
when you make it to the
when we
finals.
make it to the finals, when we win the whole thing, we'll just manifest
And
it
what's
right now.
it's the
Kelly Cup.
the Kelly Cup.
Yeah, so when we win that, you need
I'm
to come
there.
up for it,
I'm in.
and you can drink from the Kelly Cup,
I'm in.
and then we can go skate around and hoist it.
So I'm not supposed to ask you questions. This is your deal, but
No, you can ask me questions.
how'd you get involved with that? I mean, obviously the natural connections is
With the Steelheads?
yeah.
So when I moved to Boise, this is my 20th season with them. So 20 years ago, I moved here. That was the first place that I went and talked to because I had a job lined up with the Calgary Flames. But
Oh, cool.
for whatever reason, we decided to move to Boise.
That's why you're boys with Graham. Graham's a Flames guy.
Yeah, well, I wasn't a Flames fan, though.
Oh.
I'm an Oilers fan, but my dad insured like Lanny McDonald, and he was an insurance agent, and so he had like some Kelly Kissio, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he called in a favor, and I was gonna like do like ticket sales or something for the Flames, but we decided to move to Boise instead, and so that was the first place that I went and talked to. And I remember I talked to Ben Cottier, and he was like, "I don't really have any jobs right now, but Bonnie has some internships." And I was like, well, I already graduated, but so I talked to her. She was a fellow Canadian as well. And so she talked me into being an intern there. And so I've been like a 20-year intern, but now I do like color commentating. I do a lot of stuff for the Steelheads. I drive the Zamboni.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of morphed into, it started out as an intern, and I just say that I'm the longest intern that they've ever had, but I'm not. None of it has ever been an internship. Like, it's never been for credit or anything, but it's kind of the ongoing joke. But that's how I got into it.
Do you pay them or do they pay you?
They pay me to drive the Zamboni. Okay. That's about it.
That's good.
I've just volunteered for 20 years. And, I mean, they take really good care of me and feed me and clothe me. And
I appreciate
I could
this,
probably I could probably sleep at the arena if I wanted to. Like, do a little tent setup underneath the bleachers.
Yeah.
I bet you they would be fine with that if I ever become homeless.
Yeah.
No, I wore this. I wore this for you.
I was nervous to do this, and then when we were down in the parking lot and I saw you were rocking BGK, then
Were you really nervous?
No.
Good. I didn't. I was like, I hope you weren't nervous.
No, that's one of the things that golf's probably introduced me into more than anything is hockey.
Yeah.
Which is, hockey guys love golf, and when I was down in the desert, I'd go and watch Phoenix play. You know,
Yeah.
They were Phoenix Coyotes back then. Now they're inclusive of the entire state, the Arizona Coyotes. But that's probably one of the coolest things that's happened through golf and now I'm diehard Vegas. I get upset when they lose.
Yeah, I really like the Golden Knights.
It's a problem.
You should have come. I wish you would have come. You were supposed to come for the preseason game.
But I've got my puck now.
Oh yeah, you do have your puck.
And that was that would have been full circle because they
the two
played
teams.
the Coyotes,
Yeah.
so that was like my start, and then my current situation with hockey, and so that would have been. But every time we get something to where it's a maybe, I have like a flight the next day, or I'm getting back. So
I know you're so busy.
when I do my schedule, I'm going to be more sincere and more considerate of the things that you have planned for us.
More intentional, we'll say.
Yeah, I'm not skipping them because I want to.
No, I know. I mean, one of these days we'll figure it out.
Yes.
And today we're gonna go play Topgolf.
That's huge. I don't want to be the guy that shows up to a Steelheads game when they're winning like 90% of their games and then have them have a slip up? Because then
No,
where do
it's
they go?
it's not that superstitious. They're like
For
hockey
you,
players
but
have
for me.
superstitions, but nobody would be like, "Oh, it's because Zach showed up and that's why we didn't
They
win."
wouldn't. I would.
Oh, you would think it in your
Yes.
mind. You'd be like,
Yes.
"That's my fault."
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know any of those guys. I'd love to meet them. I'm sure they're great guys.
Yeah, they're
and they're
awesome.
playing high level hockey.
You would actually like a lot of them. I'll bring some of
I've
them
been
out.
to a game. So
I'll bring
not
them out.
this year,
I'll
but
bring them out to the golf course.
I'd love it.
I'll see if the coach wants to come. I'm sure
great.
both our head coach and our assistant coach, they both love to play golf. Register plays golf.
I think hockey players are the most genuine athletes. Like genuine, maybe not the right term, but low key, just even keel.
You would
Hockey
love
guys are just different.
You'd love Jade Miller. You'd love Matt Register.
Yeah.
There's a ton of good guys on this team. I really do think they have a chance to win the whole thing. So we'll see.
And then from here they'd go. What's the next step up?
So the next step up is the AHL,
AHL.
which is the Texas Stars.
Yep.
So that's in Austin.
Yep.
And then the next step up from there is the NHL.
Yeah. And Dallas is good this year too.
So
Dallas is playing good
Remy
hockey.
Poirier, our starting goalie,
Okay.
is now up in Austin,
And they're still
playing up there.
They're still crushing it.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get him back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because he's just been on a tear lately. And he's probably the next up and comer for the Dallas Stars goalie. They kind of groom the goalies in the minor leagues so that they get more playing time.
Yep.
And then that gets them ready for when they're playing in the
Like Vegas is taking guys, the guy who was putting cheese on the nachos, because I think they've been down like 5 goalies this year. So I've paid more attention to goalies this year than ever before, not because, I really wanted to. I think those guys have to be nuts.
Now
to
I'm
just
thinking
get a puck fired at you time and time again, you have to.
Now that you mentioned nacho cheese, now I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Should we go play?
let's do it.
Should we go play? We're gonna go play at Top Golf.
100%.
But I appreciate. Is there anything you want to plug?
Man, your stuff, really. I mean,
Don't plug my stuff.
I'm.
People already know about me.
They do. I hope more people get to know you and get to see you outside of the studio. I think the stuff that you're doing for
I don't need
for
any
golf
more
is
friends,
great.
Zach. Okay.
No, and I'm not. I'm saying this genuinely is that I go back and I catch myself watching the Lego videos all the time. Yeah, naturally. I mean, I can say, hey, Canyon Springs Juniors, we're getting ready to launch our stuff. The foundation, our events in August, the 12th, I believe. So yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's when the next tournament is.
Yeah, I've already I put it on your schedule for you.
We
I've
should
already got it on there.
do like an influencer tournament out there where we bring all the fancy influencer people out and do something for the foundation as well.
If we have the lady who stocks the snacks here get involved, so that it'll be.
I'll talk
We have
to
a
her.
pretty good snack set up in our facility. My mom takes care of that, and it literally looks
You
like
do.
Costco. In
You
there.
actually do.
Yeah,
No, we had.
it's a thing.
I think I have a video of me going up and stealing the snacks from the children.
Yeah,
I didn't steal them, but
Just borrowing
I mean,
them.
I just helped myself.
yeah.
And took some that were probably meant for the kids and not for me. But I'm just a big kid.
No, but seriously though, the stuff that you did, there's a lot of people. Let's be honest. I mean, the guys that you hang out with, the influencers, but anybody that can help the game of golf and bring golfers to people like myself that primarily teaches and coaches people and gets to do it for a living, which is slightly ridiculous, but it's fantastic. Like I said, none of that stuff was around when I was a kid. Top Golf. I mean, I know we just walked
Topgolf's
in.
insane.
I was just in the lobby in the opening area, and I'm going, this is nuts. And I've been to other Top Golfs, but
I'm so glad we have one here now.
they're fantastic. It's unbelievable, and if you need something to do, now it's hard to get in. I mean, you got
The Boise one,
plan.
yeah. You gotta plan ahead.
Yeah.
You gotta be intentional in your planning.
Sure, I'm not good at planning. I'm not a super organized
I'll
person.
get you in.
No, I appreciate you setting us
you
up
ever,
today.
If
Yeah.
you ever want to go, I can call a couple favors in
Yeah,
and
I need
pull
that.
some strings.
Yeah, but that's fantastic. And I mean, it brings people to the game of golf that might not have ever thought about trying it.
Yeah.
And then the next step is presumably they want to potentially play. Who knows? But even if you create one golfer out of it, that's huge for me and my business and everything that we've got going forward. But it's just awesome.
Yeah, and it brings people together like we talked about. Like it brings people together that wouldn't technically be golfers. They wouldn't be considered golfers, but like my kids love it.
I've never had a light up mug.
Yeah, I mean, this is next level. Shout out to Top Golf. They're our future sponsor. I'm not supposed to shout out all these places that aren't, like, there's no free ad reads,
Yeah.
but I still do free ad reads because I love Topgolf so much and they've done so much for me. I have no problem shouting them out, and one day they probably will be the title sponsor, and we'll put them on this golf ball.
That'd be awesome.
It'll just say Topgolf.
Well, and the perfect
Because
owner
now this
for
is my
this
fancy
area.
new studio.
Yeah, but how good's Bjorn? I mean, for this area and just somebody who wasn't homegrown here
Yeah,
to
he's
then
awesome.
come in and to do the things and to be as giving as he is. And
Their whole, I mean,
Yeah, it's
top
just a
top down, that organization has just been nothing but phenomenal in my mind. So, but yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go play some Topgolf, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
If you're ever out here and you want to hop on the podcast, you let me know, because there's always a seat for you. Even
Nah,
if we
I
have,
appreciate
even if we do a 3-man, and you bring your mom on, I don't care.
that'd
bring
be
your
wild.
bring your caddy.
Well, yeah, no, we'll wait when Troy gets number 3. I'll make sure that I'll
When he
get
gets number
something
3 and
signed.
what?
The third win.
Oh,
I think it's coming. So when he gets the third win, then I'm going to make him come on the podcast.
Troy's welcome on the podcast anytime too. I don't know Troy like you know Troy, so he's invited.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one inviting him. If
Oh,
you-
that's cool.
if you ever-
inviting
Troy's kind of shy though. Like I've only
No.
met him once. He's not.
No. Troy's reserved, but no. Not,
I can't like knowing his dad.
Yeah.
I can't see that guy being a shy kid, but
He's reserved and he's very mindful.
yeah.
But one of the just best genuine humans. A lot of people that are in my circle are just super genuine people, and I'm fortunate to have
Yeah.
that. But yeah, reserved for sure, but not shy.
Really?
No.
We'll find out.
Oh yeah.
I'll find out if we're playing a Topgolf with
Yeah,
him.
for sure.
I'll see how shy he is.
Yeah, we'll get him to loosen up a little bit.
But that's it. That's
Oh,
it
man,
for. I don't know
appreciate
how to do a sign off.
We got to
on
cheers
this.
like the mugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good.
I like that.
That might be my one contribution to the show moving forward. I hope that we.
I'm
keep
just
the
gonna do
cheers
it every
going.
time.
I love it.
Every time I'm in the fancy studio, we're cheersing.
I love that.
Salud
man.
in Spanish.
appreciate it. Here we go.
All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. If you guys stayed this long, then congratulations. We kind of got carried away, and I don't even know how long we went for. But that's Zach,
Man, that's
a.k.a. Z, a.k.a. Prickly Pear. Follow him on wherever. Do you want to?
No.
Promote any
My
socials?
social media is private.
I know you don't really put yourself out there.
Foundation. We have a social media page. MV Junior Golf Foundation.
If you want to play in that tournament, you will not be disappointed. Even if you fly in from fancy California,
Well.
wherever you come in from, yeah, we need to put a tournament together though.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
Another tournament.
Yeah, 100%. I'm in.
Sometime this summer.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll make a couple phone calls.
Yeah, you get the people. I'll get a venue. We're good to go.
No, we're doing it at your venue.
At my venue. That's even easier.
Yeah.
So yeah. Just say when.
We're not doing it. We're not doing it off-site.
No, I appreciate that. Well, it's hard to get to. I mean, for some these people that you know, it's hard to get into.
We'll put them in like a giant like Airbnb,
Done.
and then whoever else wants to come play, they
Done.
can come play.
Easy.
I'll make some phone calls.
I like it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, I like it.
Thanks for watching.
that's the fourth
I don't.
wrap.
Yeah, I have no idea how to sign this off, so we'll just
Another one? Can we
we'll
go
just
for
stop.
another
We'll
one?
do another cheers.
When you think you're fancy but you're not, go and listen to Flop Shot.